So the thing is, I don't know what I am. I don't know what this is. I don't know anything. I'm not a knower. And that's just the facts. You can know that. I'm not a knower. I know that doesn't make sense to say you can know that. You can't know that. That's the whole point. I can't know that I'm not a knower because I'm not a knower. I can't know. And that isn't knowable. You can say it's unknown. It's unknown, unknowing. Unknowing is what I am. Unknowing is what is. Just saying that there isn't any, knowledge isn't what's here. The me experience converts everything to knowledge. It's all about knowledge. Because the me experience, this is not just here. The story of me, the feeling, the reality, let's say, of me is already a story. It's already a structure. It's a structure of me being here in this world, separate, needing to get done, needing to get free of my condition of being separate and being in a world and being chased by my own death, my own mortality, and my own limitation. All of that is part of the equipment of me. It's all built in. And that's a story. So me is a story. So it's already composed, you could say. Composed of knowledge, composed of separation, composed of this limitation and need to get out of the limitation, to get free of my own limited condition. All of that is built in to me, this me experience. But what's just here doesn't have any of that. There isn't anything like that here. You know. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, this is the ranch, and the ranch doesn't have any knowledge. There's nothing knowable. There's no knowledge here. There's no way to know what anything is. There's no knowledge of being separate. There's no knowledge of a world. There's no knowledge of a way to go through the world and get free. There just isn't any of that. There's just unknowing. We can, we pull this word out from the air and call it unknowing, but it's just, how do you put a word on everything? Everything is everything doesn't catch it at all. But there's no knowing business here. I don't know. I'm not a knower. There is no knower here. There's no way to know. There is nothing to be known. There's just this, and that's the end of the story. The book has been written, you could say. And it's not a book. The book is unwritable. I mean, that was kind of a joke when I said the book has been written, because that sounds like it's kind of a solid, state that you can, like a conclusion. But that's the whole point. There isn't a conclusion. If there was a conclusion, maybe it could be known. But there are no conclusions. There's nothing here that's it's concluded. There's nothing that's beginning. There's nothing that is anything that we can say. That's what I am, but I can't know it. Anything that I can know is just going to be a story that I'm telling myself, telling others, telling whatever, telling the sky. And that's the experience of me. I have a story, a running like a crawl at the bottom of my experience, reading off the story. And I feel that that's me. I feel that I'm somehow in that story. I'm being told by my own knowledge, essentially. That knowledge machine gets started at whatever, age 2, and takes over, essentially. Takes over the screen and says, okay, you're now mine. You now belong to me. And you will be what I say. You used to be free. That's the story. And of course, that's all the myths. That's all the Garden of Eden, There was freedom, and then something happened. And now it's just a distant dream, the freedom. But that's backwards. Because the stories are just stories. There's nothing to do with anything. Stories they don't turn into anything. That's what stories are. They tell themselves. They need an audience to make them real, but there isn't any audience here. That's the trick. That's the joke. There's just this, and everything is just this. There's no audience. The audience is just this. The ushers, the ticket takers, the dogs out in the street. It's just this. There's no one. There is no one. And the one who feels like I am someone is a dream. It's a story of needing to get free of my personhood, free of my state as one, as something. It's the experience of being something. And the feeling of being something is, what the Buddhists call suffering. Because I'm constantly, to be something is to be in a constant state of threat of being nothing. Death, annihilation. There's nothing to do about that. For someone, that annihilation is just here. And I'm completely defenseless about it, so I'm afraid of it. I'm desperate to make my life into something that can protect me from that. And the other side of that coin is that I'm desperate to get what will make me free of this vulnerable state, this threatened state, get safe, get okay, and get what I lack. All of that lack and vulnerability and uneasiness about it all is because of my state, my separate state. And that's a total dream. It's just a dream. It's just a funny story. Feels real. The feeling of it, the experience of it is that it's real. That's part of part of the story. But there's no one like that. There's no one who's separate. There's no one who's threatened. There's no story of being born and being annihilated. That is the story. In the story, there are things constantly being born and constantly dying and constantly experiencing everything possible thing that can be, experienced to to one who's created into a world of winning and losing, and doing good things, doing bad things, having luck and misfortune and everything in between. That's the dream for no one. So the one who's watching this video is not here. The story is here, you could say. It's appearing. No one for it to appear to. No one who's ever shown up to be counted and to be a participant in all of these stories. Stories are stories. They show up just the way the stars show up and all the atoms in the world. It's part of the story, right? That's what the world is. It's a story. Yeah, okay.